Welcome to Silicon Valley Asian Business Talk.
Hello, everyone. This is Roger Chen from University of San Francisco, and we are conducting this interview sponsored by University of San Francisco Center for Asia Pacific Studies, short for CAPS. And our guest today is Li Fang, and we want to thank you, Li, for kind of joining our program to share your wisdom, your insights on adopting the enterprise AI system in your company. Please briefly introduce yourself and also your company.
Great. Thank you, Roger. Hi, everyone. My name is Li Fan. I'm currently Chief Technology and AI Officer for Circle Internet Group. For those who don't know, Circle is a global financial technology company building economic operating systems for the internet. We're creating a neutral programmable layer for digital dollars and enable money to move with the same speed, transparency, and security as the information and data to do today. Now, in my role as a technology officer, I manage all the engineers, data scientists, and the tech ops in the company and build the product and the services. My another role as an AI officer, I set up the company's AI strategy, and I also lead a small AI team to execute and enable everyone in the company, whether tech or non-tech.
Thank you. Actually, that's such a great background, and we are really looking forward to kind of discuss your experience.
Discussion topic: Reducing Enterprise AI Hallucination Risk. Silicon Valley Asian Business Talk.
The next question, which is a very big question, because every enterprise kind of AI system faces this hallucination issue. It means many, many things, right? But they talk about many kind of solutions. But does your company use certain techniques, such as kind of the metadata, the workflow design, or some kind of methodologies to reduce hallucination to ensure the quality of AI system in your company? So what are some of the technical methods you use?
Yeah. Great question. I do think the most important thing is to evaluate and recognize hallucinating.
Evaluate and recognize.
Evaluate, because I think that's important recognition. And
Yeah.
I think if you don't measure them correctly, it's harder, because when you have, let's say you upgrade a model, or like early on, it's so funny, like early on, the most effective way is only two things: is upgrade model or add more context. To be honest, that's like just make sure that the AI has more context. And then for certain project, we have to do a little bit of fine tuning ourselves, but the majority of the project is really about giving the right context. But I do think the most challenging is make sure that people understand how to really recognize a hallucination. And the good news is, because we insist, like I just said earlier, insist still human in the loop, even if it's just one last step, the humans will check, say, hey, it's wrong. And then when it's wrong, we try to understand which part is wrong. Is it because the context is wrong, or just AI just makes shit up, right? So that happens. So then we try to figure out why. Sometimes it's I sometimes call it a little trick. For example, we try to say, if the engineer try to recommend engineer, say, if you use this tool, let's say use Cloud Code to code make your code suggestion or development, you may want to consider using another model to do code review, because we also do AI code review, and you may want to use, let's say, Gemini as the model backend to do code review. So counterbalance. But at the end of the day, before you check your code, we still require a human to review, because we want a name attached it. If there's anything wrong, we want a human to be able to.
Oh, that's transparency. That's
still right now, and I understand that this is in some way a slowdown part, because you require human. But right now we haven't let it go, because still early, and also in the industry we need to be extra careful. Yeah.
So actually, could you say a few kind of add a few clarification when you say context? Because earlier you said you maybe add more context to reduce the hallucination or manage the right context. Could you kind of do you learn something about so-called providing the right context? What do you mean by that? It's not because I heard some discussion say if you provide too much context, it may confuse AI systems. I don't know
It
whether.
could, but I have to say, this is the part, one thing I emphasize with our team is you have to have a growth mindset and try out the latest AI at least every 2 weeks. Because half a year ago, I can totally see that. But frankly speaking, the latest AI model and the tools are so intelligent. I think that requirement is lower and lower, but still context matters. I give you an example, like early on, let's say half a year ago, the AI will suggest a lot of code. And they will call some API. I'm like, wait, that API is obsolete. It's no longer used. So we will have to tell AI, say, no, 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 you focus on this set of API you can call. Don't go randomly call some API we already obsolete or something. So you need to correct it. So give them the right one. If the beginning when engineers don't know how to give the correct context is sometimes like, okay, do that for me. But if you don't tell them what's the best practice, and by the way, AI will be overly enthusiastic, do too many things for you. So I think those are the things we start to learn how to let them do the right thing. But it's literally like manage a new hire. You do need a good manager really need to give the right context. Yeah.
I think there are 2 points from your point. One is the good news is these days AI models getting smarter and smarter, meaning they are more able to handle very messy context document. That's a good news for all the companies. But on the other hand, you also mentioned even with the very smart AI machines, right prompt, right instruction is still very, very important.
Yes.
Right? So that kind of right and prompt the right instruction that's still there.
Yes. Yes. And I think what organization can do is make sure when there's also fundamental layer of data, you don't have to every time rely on people to give it to it. If you can have the right data fabric built up, which we are building right now, then you will save a lot of time for each individual to give the right context. But no matter what, I think the right manager, in some way in here, like the manager for the AI agent, will still need to be very clear and precise on what you want to achieve, what are the constraints you want the agent to have.
It seems to me also, based upon your early discussion, so-called these good managers or good instructions or prompts, it does not come from not nowhere. It comes from their learning, come from their observation of the mistakes the AI agent make. Then they say, oh, I need to change my instruction, or I need to tell AI system this way. Is that correct?
Partially. I think partly to make if I say like who makes up those good AI agent managers, the first most important thing is this person actually understand the function need very well, right? So a good architect in engineer is always a good architect. And learning the AI, how to talk to AI, it's actually the easier part.
Okay, so I mean, in other words, actually have a clear understanding of the objective,
Exactly. Clear understanding objective, clear understanding in the system, ultimately where the complexity and the common pitfalls are. It's more important than say learning. But learning the AI, the tricks of how to deal with AI is also important. But to be honest, in my observations, that's the easier part to ramp up.
Okay, well, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you for watching.